UFC Fight Night Vegas 15, Blaydes versus Lewis takes place this weekend, and there are a bunch of fighters on this card that aren't too well known. However, they're very dangerous contenders. Some of them are new to the UFC. Some of them are looking to rebound their career and go on another bit of a run because they're still young contenders. I'm going to tell you who those people are on this card this weekend, and these are my fighters to watch out for at UFC Vegas 15, starting first of all with the most important one in my opinion, the Alpha Ginger himself, Carlyle. A dangerous man. I'm looking forward to seeing his fight this weekend against Bill Aljo, who also could be mentioned. So maybe I'll do a double feature here between Bill Aljo and Spike Carlyle, because Bill Aljo had an amazing debut against Ricardo Lamas. I mean, don't get me wrong, I picked Ricardo Lamas to beat him because Bill Aljo hasn't had the most impressive of times on the regional scenes, but still, he showed up on short notice against Ricardo Lamas, who's a dangerous guy, and even though he might be coming to the end of his career, Bill Aljo had a great performance, and he's taken on Spike Carlyle, the Alpha Ginger. We're here for the Alpha Ginger, really. I do feel like he's going to get the job done against Bill Aljo this weekend, but it's a dangerous fight. Aljo's very good on the feet. He's got good cardio as well. On short notice, he showed that against Lamas. Carlyle seems to suffer in the cardio department because he's so fast twitch, muscle bound. It's very obvious to see as soon as he starts the opening round of every single fight, he just goes completely crazy. We saw that in his UFC debut against Alon Cruz, who was a Contender Series guy that got himself a flying knee KO on the Contender Series. So for Spike Carlyle to go out there and just dismantle him in the first round and waste no time whatsoever against a quick starter as well in Alon Cruz, that's a very big guy for the division. He was right on my radar immediately. I actually picked him to beat Billy Quarantillo. I was wrong. Billy Quarantillo has now gone on to impress me against Kyle Nelson in his next performance after that one. Had a very impressive time there. He'll take on Gavin Tucker coming up towards the end of the year. But Spike Carlyle had a good performance against Billy Quarantillo, was winning the fight. This needs to be mentioned, okay, because he's a very good fighter. Great grappling, really good submissions, really good awareness of submissions as well to stay out of danger against Quarantillo. Amazing stand-up, wild out of nowhere. Seems like he's got a good chin as well. He was winning that fight so well, and then for whatever reason, I have no idea to this day why this happened, and I have some reasons, maybe why, he stands up for no reason and walks off towards the end of the first round. I think he heard the clacker, and then thought that the round was over, but he's fought so many times before, and he's fought in the UFC before, but it might have been a case of this, honestly. Spike Carlyle hadn't heard the clacker to indicate 10 seconds left in the round since 2019 March. Like, he beat his next three opponents after that in Matthew Colquhoun, who was 7-3, beat him in the first round by spinning back fist, beat John Paul Bosnian, who was 2-0 undefeated, still 2-0 though, not the most impressive, but an undefeated guy, beat him in the first round, 1 minute and 50 seconds in, then beat Alon Cruz in the first round, 8-2 guy, destroys him. I actually think he forgot what the clacker was, because he hadn't seen the second round in so long, because he doesn't need a second round, but this time against Quarantillo he did, because Quarantillo is a very, very tough man, and Quarantillo got right back up as Spike Carlyle just wanders off like he's having a stroll through the countryside, and Quarantillo tags him straight on the chin, drops him really badly at the end of the first round. I'm assuming that, Carlyle must have thought he got assaulted, like, illegally, after the bell. Like, he must have been so confused, and then in second round, comes out all guns blazing again, but he's just way more slow. Got concussed in the end of the first round. You've got to take that into consideration. I feel like if he didn't walk off at the end of that first round, could have potentially won himself that fight, but Billy Quarantillo gets it done. I'm still going to be looking out for Spike Carlyle on this card this weekend, because I do think he gets it done against Bill Aljo. I could see him getting it done by TKO in the first round as well, just because he's so dangerous, so switched on early, and he throws crazy techniques. I think he'll catch Bill Aljo straight away in the first round. Looking forward to seeing what the Alpha Ginger can do, but pay attention to him. And if Bill Aljo gets the win, pay attention to Bill Aljo, because he had a good showing against Lamas on short notice. And if he gets this one as well, we'll be off to something very good with Bill Aljo, and I'll be paying attention to his career. But moving on to other people on the card that we need to talk about. Nate Maness. Not the most impressive guy, but he's 10-1. He's got a good record. He's very dangerous as well. He's a very good grappler. He seems to have good stand-up as well. He's a bit of an all-rounder, nice grinding style, but still, I did not like his performance in his last fight with Johnny Munoz Jr., but he did get the win against a guy who was 10-0, but also, I do excuse him a little bit, and I spoke about this in my full card predictions. If you watched his last performance against Johnny Munoz Jr., you would maybe say this guy isn't the best in the world because I think Johnny Munoz Jr. should have won that fight. However, the only reason he won that fight was because they took points away from Johnny Munoz Jr. But at the same time, you can blame it on them taking the points away that he got the win. But also, Johnny Munoz Jr. groin-shotted him about 4 or 5 times. If that doesn't mess up your performance, I don't know what will. And Nate Maness has been beating good guys outside the UFC over at TKO. Jesse Arnett, 15-4. Cal Machado, 11-4. Decent guys, 2 4-0 guys, and then a 6-0 guy in Isaiah Ferguson. I mean, anyone with the second name Ferguson is a dangerous, dangerous person. Sandy Fieur, who was 4-0, like he's beaten a good amount of undefeated contenders. I like his style. I think he's going to go out there and look real good against Luke Sanders, because Luke Sanders is a guy who's had his damage in his career. Bit of a veteran. I believe he's 35 years of age. I'll just double check it. 34 years of age, soon to be 35 in about a couple of weeks. So I was close. Got my mind reading skills a little bit off there, but he's 34 years of age, coming on the outside of his prime right now. I'm sure we can agree. But if he's Brazilian and his name is Glover Teixeira, he might come back around at the age of 40 and go on a championship run. Who knows? But his last win was against Renan Barão. Before that, he got KO'd by Rani Yahya. I feel like he's coming to the end of his career, and I don't know how much I rate a win over Renan Barão anymore. There was a time when Dillashaw beat Renan Barão, where a win over Renan Barão meant that you were the GOAT. Like, that was just immediately what it was. I don't really know how much I rate a win over Renan Barão anymore at this point in his career, okay? Because Renan Barão is a saggy shell of himself. I'm sure we can all agree. Someone was definitely doing some illegal activities during the pre-USADA era. Because you know what? As soon as USADA came along, Barão got destroyed by everyone consecutively and never looked the same ever again. But I'm looking forward to seeing Nate Maness take on Luke Sanders this weekend. Luke Sanders is a dangerous guy. He's got knockout power. He's very gritty. He's very tough, and he's switched on early. I do believe that Nate Maness is going to get the job done by unanimous decision or a third-round finish, perhaps. We'll see how it goes. I've got Nate Maness. He's a good fighter. Very good fighter. And he's a good wrestler as well. He's got a nice wrestling background that I think is going to come in handy in this division. Looking forward to seeing him make his first successful debut, I guess you could say. I mean, I know he had his fight last time against Johnny Munoz Jr. However, I feel like I was a little bit robbed of seeing him get a clear win inside the UFC. So to see him go out there and get a win against Luke Sanders, it will mean that he's finally actually on the scene. Because I know he's 1-0 in the UFC. But it was because of groin shots, which is still a win. Because he got fouled so many times, they gave him the win. But, like, I saw him get outworked a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if he can get a clear win in the UFC against Luke Sanders. Very dangerous opponent, though. Looking forward to seeing Nate Maness. Moving on. Josh Parisian is on the card, a heavyweight. He's actually on the main card in the feature fight because I don't know. He's from the Contender Series, and they get title shots at flyweight over Brandon Moreno and Alex Perez. So, I don't know. I feel like it's just a bit of Contender Series favoritism, but he's on the main card. He's a heavyweight, and all the heavyweights seem to be on the main. We just had a time not too long ago with Yorgan De Castro versus Felipe Colares as a co-main event of a fight night. I believe that was Holm versus Aldana. The heavyweights are really getting pushed up these cards. Josh Parisian deserves it, though. I don't think maybe he should have been on the main card so quickly over some other fighters, but this card isn't the most stacked in the world, so maybe he should have been on the main card. Good fighter, bunch of KOs in the first round, has been KO'd before in his career and has had an amateur career as well. That was a very lengthy amateur career and got KO'd in his amateur career as well. He went overall 8-2 in his amateur career, which is a ton of experience to have, especially in the heavyweight division. Fought some good guys, 4-0, 3-2, like anyone with fights at heavyweight, at amateur that you're taking on, you know. It's good to see that he's got an amateur career because you don't usually see that at a heavyweight because people are so worried about losing their chin too early. They want to make it as far as possible before they get KO'd once. But Josh Parisian said, forget that. I'm just going to train in amateur, and if I get KO'd, I get KO'd. I'm going to learn from it. Came into the heavyweight division. Did quite well, went 4-0, 5-1, lost to Tony Lopez by KO. That's a very bad KO loss, but he beat a bunch of good guys as well. Greg Rebello, 24-8 at the time, spinning back fist KO'd him on the Contender Series. They didn't sign him after that, but they did give him an opportunity on the Ultimate Fighter 28, where he lost to Miguel Baeza. But Miguel Baeza is the guy who has a technical win over Daniel Cormier at the Olympics. So I don't really blame him there. Even though it was a technical win because of the fact that, you know, DC didn't show up. So, you know, maybe that, listen, it's one of the reasons. Mikel Batista, dangerous guy, lost to him, but then bounces back after his loss to Brett Martin afterwards, after the Ultimate Fighter. Bounces back, goes on a 6-fight win streak. His last one was against a decent competition opponent on the Contender Series, Chad Johnson. Not the best guy in the world, but again, he gets a first round KO, and it's not just that he's beaten these guys. They're not the best guys in the world, but he's making them look like not the best guys in the world. I mean, you're talking about, what, a 6-fight win streak right now in the heavyweight division. 5 of them have been by KO in the first round. I mean, he's a very dangerous man. All of them have been by KO as well. So this ain't no heavyweight that's going to be taking people to a decision. He's been given Parker Porter in his debut, and I think it's the lock of the night because as much as Parker Porter's the GOAT of MMA, I'm very aware of this. You know, I think Parisian's going to give him a real tough time because Parker Porter's way too slow. Parisian throws a lot of feints. He's got good footwork for a heavyweight. Very light on his feet. I could see him actually getting a signature finish in the first round. Maybe even by a spinning back fist again because he loves the spinning techniques. I mean, that's all he was doing in his fights before in the Contender Series was non-stop spinning. Spinning back kick, spinning wheel kick, spinning back kick. And then he faked the spinning back kick and went for a spinning back fist as the guy tried to smother it and he got the KO. He's very smart, uses a lot of feints, sets a lot of things up. I think he'll get the first round KO against Parker Porter, who is coming off of a first round KO loss to Chris Dalkaus only 3 months ago. He's going to get KO'd again by Josh Parisian. Looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. I think Parisian gets it done. Watch out for him. Moving on to another person on this card, Miguel Baeza. People think I'm not giving him credit because I picked against him and I picked Takashi Sato to win. I think Takashi Sato's going to win because Sato's 16-3 against good competition opponents, coming off a great win against Jason Witt in the first round, lit him up like he was absolutely nothing, only lost to Bilal Muhammad inside the UFC. I think we're going to see an upset with Takashi Sato beating Miguel Baeza, but Miguel Baeza needs to be mentioned. Undefeated guy with an amateur career of 5-0, beat everyone at amateurs, didn't really fight anyone too good at amateur, but beat one guy 4-2. In his final amateur fight, which I'm assuming was an amateur championship at XFN. Looking forward to it. Comes into his debut in the pro scene, beats every single person, hasn't really beaten too many good competition guys, but beat a guy in Leal Valdeva who was 5-2, Matthew Colquhoun, who I believe I just mentioned on Spike Carlyle's resume not too long ago, I believe, beat him by KO in the first round. I'm just going to double check that because I swear oh yeah, Spike Carlyle also KO'd him in the first round. Okay, cool. Well, everyone's KO'd him. All good. That kind of devalues things for Miguel Baeza, but you know what? That's fine. This guy's just showing up to get KO'd. All good, but he beat him. He was 5-2 at the time. Got the KO in the first round. Then beat Victor Reina on the Contender Series. I just worry a little bit about Miguel Baeza because I know he's good and he looks the part and he's very crisp and technical on the feet. But there's something about his chin that I don't like because it seems when he gets hit, he's not too good at being the nail. Like, he's very patient against Matt Brown. He got cracked so badly, but he also was getting cracked quite badly against Victor Reina on the Contender Series and also slowed down dramatically in that third round, and Reina started raining down shots on him, big elbows in ground and pound, big shots on the feet as well, rocked him a tiny bit in the third round in that fight. Looked good. I feel like I like Miguel Baeza, undefeated guy, could be 10-0 with a win here. I don't think he's going to get it done, but I'm still going to mention him on this show anyway because, you know, undefeated guy. You got to pay attention to him, and if he does go out there and beat Takashi Sato in the first round or in some way spectacular fashion and doesn't make it a close back-and-forth slugfest, I'm going to be paying attention to Miguel Baeza most definitely moving forward in this welterweight division because I think Takashi Sato is by far... I mean, you can just look at the records of his opponents here. 0-2, 0-0, 3-2, 2-2, 5-2, 5-2, 10-3, 4-2, 22-16, and then 16-3 Takashi Sato. This is the big jump up that I've been waiting for Miguel Baeza. I don't think he's going to get it done, but if he does, I'm all aboard and I'll change my tune real quick. See you later, guys. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Those are my fighters to watch out for on this card. There aren't many massive names on the card, but they're always going to be fun fights. And I think this is going to be another one of those cards where there aren't many big names, but they're all going to be absolute slugfests back and forth, and I can sense it in all of these fights. Kamaka III is on the card this weekend versus Jonathan Pierce. I can see that one being a back and forth scrap. Martin Day versus Anderson Dos Santos. I can see that one being a bit of a back and forth scrap. Sumadeji versus Malcolm Gordon is going to be a fun scrap back and forth. Nate Maness, Luke Sanders. I mean, we can go through all of these fights. I feel like they've sacrificed big names to make sure that it's a very, very fun fight night, and I think that's what we're in for. Looking forward to it. Click that button up there. Goodbye. Toodle pip.